og velkommen tilbake til Konservativ psykiatri med meg, Rebecca Mistregen, og vår eminente psykiater Hanna Spier. Hei, Hanna.
Hei, Rebecca. Hei.
Du har gjort noe superspennende, og noe som er veldig, veldig, veldig relevant for Document sitt publikum. Du har snakket med James Nuzzo, hvis jeg sa det riktig, og dette handler da altså om woke i akademia. Vi skal benytte ukens episode til å se på et utvalg klipp fra det, og hvis du vil se hele, så må du selvfølgelig gå til Hanna sin Substack for å se hele. Men Hanna, kan ikke du fortelle litt om hvem er han, og hva er det med woke i akademia?
Ja, han er veldig interessant. Jeg oppdaget ham på Substack faktisk, og han hadde en post som het Woke Medicine, hvor han forteller om et studie som han gjorde. Så han har en doktorgrad i fysiologi, så han holder på med treningsmedisin. Og han er nå jobber i Australia, men han er en amerikaner. Og han spesialiserer seg da i menns helse. Og han opplevde da at her får jeg ingenting publisert, og reaksjonene han fikk på sine studier, der han rett og slett sier at det er kjønnsforskjeller, og at for eksempel menn har mer gripestyrke enn kvinner, menn er sånn, og hvor han også påpeker at det er en kjønnsforskjell også fordi at det er flere menn som er interesserte å delta i disse studiene enn det er kvinner som er interessert i å delta. Noe så uskyldig som det, så fikk han altså en etter en avslag og grusomme tilbakemeldinger fra peer reviews, som sa ting som at nei, det vi opplever av ditt studie, det er viktigere enn den dataen du har samlet. Var det noen som skrev til han, og da begynte han å skrive om dette på Substack, og det var da jeg oppdaget han. Deretter så gjorde han et studie hvor han tok for seg databasen PubMed, og det er der nesten alle forskningspapirer er å finne. Og der lette han etter woke-terminologi. Ved at han da brukte James Lindsay's encyclopedia for woke-terminologi, og han lette igjennom masse studier for å finne hvor mange ganger de hadde brukt disse terminologier, og det var helt, så jeg legger ut dere skal få se en liste, hvor mange ganger for eksempel environmental justice, for eksempel social justice, og dette kommer du til å like, Rebecca. En av dem var menstrual poverty. Så virkelig helt sinnssyke greier. Altså, det er mye verre enn jeg trodde. Verre enn jeg trodde.
Unnskyld meg, Hanna. Hva er menstruasjonsfattigdom?
Du, det kan jeg ikke engang fortelle. Så det var veldig, veldig interessant å snakke med han. Han er flink. Han får selvfølgelig ikke den oppmerksomheten han fortjener. Så det var det jeg prøvde å rette litt på. Så jeg håper at dere syns det samme som meg.
Hanna, da skal vi straks se på klipp, og så vil jeg igjen minne dere alle sammen på om at hvis dere vil se intervjuet i sin helhet, så er det lov å ta turen over til Hannas Substack. Hanna, neste uke så er jeg bortreist, og det betyr også at jeg er borte fra Konservativ psykiatri neste uke, men fortvil ikke, Hanna er på plass. Så da sier vi takk for nå, Hanna, og på gjensyn på andre siden.
Ha det bra, ha en fin ferie. Vi snakkes for det.
Takk.
People trying to sort of change what words or language you use in your papers, and people saying, oh, you know, my perceptions trump your data. That's literally a quote that I received on a paper. No, it's true. It was a paper that I wrote about sex and gender and exercise science. The reviewer, who I assume is a feminist of some sort, did not like that I was providing supporting evidence and many references for what I was saying, and the reviewer said essentially, yeah, your data don't matter, perceptions trump data.
What was it that you were publishing there that got this peer review?
So there's many women's health initiatives that get rolled out, every year. There's all sorts of money that goes into women's health, and I'm all for helping women and women's health. But one of the backbone arguments behind that is that women have been historically ignored in medical research, meaning that they have not been adequately represented as the participants in clinical trials. I can tell you, I've looked into this issue extensively. That is not at all true. They bring out that lie every single time. I've documented it in my Substack. And what's happened is that this is now in my field of exercise science, the same sort of narrative. It actually has a little bit of truth in my field, specifically. In medical sciences broadly, it does not have good standing as a truthful argument. But essentially what I was writing was a paper saying that, because normally what people will say is the reason that women are underrepresented as research participants in trials is because of discrimination against women or bias against women. But what I was arguing is that there's actually this other factor that no one ever talks about, which is that men and women are not necessarily equally interested and willing to participate in certain types of experiments that involve particular types of procedures. And so I was making an argument about that. And that's when this reviewer said, well, I don't care, you're wrong. My perceptions trump your data.
You went through PubMed. PubMed is a database. It's a database. We use that a lot in med school. You can find almost every paper published there, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And you looked at what the woke terminology that was used and list them. Can you say something more about this paper before I botch it up more than I just did?
Yeah, it's a search for specific woke terms in PubMed, which is a database that indexes millions of medical research studies. And in the search box for PubMed, you can put in particular terms. So let's say social justice. And you can then also tell it to search in what I did in my case was only search the titles and the abstracts of the paper. It just helps me to kind of narrow down how many results I get and just keep things a bit cleaner and tidier. So that's what I told it to do. And I searched, I can't remember how many different terms, maybe 150 or something like that. Some of them were words I already knew and came across all the time. Some of them I've got from James Lindsay's website, New Discourses. James maintains a woke terminology dictionary. So I searched through that and got some additional words to look for. They included things like even particular people, like names of people. So, for example, George Floyd or Foucault. And then it included words related to gender, so like transgender and LGBTQ.
Now, let me give some of these because that just blew my mind. So yeah, you can have the whole list if you go to watch. I'm just gonna say the ones that really astounded me. Environmental injustice you found that in 1,186 articles. Equity in 47,705 articles. Like, what does he even have to do there? Structural racism in 714. Then you have, and that's, I don't know why that just stood out to me, but heteronormative in 496, microaggression 555. And there you have, this just blew my mind, menstrual poverty. What even is that? 7 articles, but I think that's enough. So that was just the ones that stood out to me. But again, go and look at, go to the Substack and read that letter from James. It's fabulous. It's fabulous.
This is happening very, very broadly and look at all this, if you tally all these up, like, wow. And this is what I call woke medicine. And it has happened at an accelerated rate ever since about 2016 or so. And I, like many things that we're experiencing, I think a key inflection point with a lot of stuff was actually the first election of Donald Trump as president. The world went mad after that. And then we had COVID, and the world went even further mad. And at the same time, woke nomenclature goes way up in the ground. Yeah. Something about, the Donald Trump election is a key moment, like I mentioned, and then you have COVID on top of all that. You have the death of George Floyd, whose name, by the way, appears in PubMed many, many times. It's some sort of, I don't know, pushback from academia against just the working class rural voter or something. I don't know what it is, but it is a huge waste of human resources. So if you think about all this woke nomenclature and all these papers, sometimes they have multiple authors on them. They're usually researchers or academics that work at public universities, so they're taxpayer funded. So all this junk, which is unlikely to help many people, is also coming at taxpayer expense as well. So it's a really not so good system.